Hi, this is Thomas from fieldtennis.net, and in this video we're gonna take a look at a few forehands of my friend Sasha. And on this first forehand you see he hits the ball at a good contact point well in front, has good weight transfer and balance. And on the second forehand he is backing off the ball, he's hitting the ball late and it's not such a good forehand. So we're gonna take a look at why this happens and how we can correct that.
Today's topic is something I call two timings, and as you have seen in the clip before with my friend Sasha, on some balls he was late, but on some balls he wasn't. And you might think, well, it's just random, but actually it's not random. It's something that happens very often, and there's a certain pattern to it. So we have to see the pattern and the reason. What is the reason that sometimes he's late? And the reason is that he's waiting to see the ball. So I know it sounds very logical, we need to see the ball before we hit it, but that's not the case. When the ball lands short, so we have enough distance between the ball bouncing and to us, then we can actually wait like prepared and we see the ball bounce. Then we can see the ball fly, and since the ball is flying so long, we have time to initiate the stroke after the bounce. So we are waiting to see the ball, and when we see the ball, we say, okay, here's the ball, I need to hit this ball, and then we initiate the stroke, and we are still in time, so we still manage to hit the ball in front. But when the ball lands closer to us, and if we are waiting to see the ball bounce off the ground so that we can hit it, we will be too late. We might rush with the arm, but we won't be able to engage the body because the body is heavier and it takes longer time to initiate and to move through space. And so when we don't use the body and we just use the arm and we rush the stroke, we will feel no power and we will even hurt our arm oftentimes. So there is this thing that I called initiating blind. So when the ball is bouncing closer to you, when you need to handle long balls, you need to initiate the stroke blind. You cannot wait to see the ball. So when my friend Sasha throws me the ball, if the ball is short, I will have enough time to wait and see the ball and then start my stroke after I see the ball, and I will still be able to hit the ball in front. So here we go. So one ball short, now I see the ball, now I initiate. So now I initiate and I'm able to hit the ball in front. If I wait to see the ball when the ball is deep, I will probably be late. So I'm late on the ball. Now I see the ball and I'm hitting the ball here. I feel I'm tight because I am, okay, this one was short enough, so I'm waiting. This one is, okay, so if I'm waiting to see the ball, I will be late. So what I need to do, I need to initiate blind. I need to initiate my stroke before the ball bounces. Why? So that my body starts the transfer of energy. I need to start the weight transfer. I need to start pushing off the ground. I need to start rotating my upper body. And then the arm will find the ball in that short split time when the ball is bouncing off the ground and reaching my racket. So now I will demonstrate when Sasha throws me a deep ball. I will initiate early and I will show in slow motion that I'm initiating my stroke before the ball bounces. And so I have enough time in that short time. I'm like halfway done with my stroke. And so then I just need to find the ball with my hand. Okay, so this was a demo when I was initiating the stroke very early before the ball bounced. So that is what you need to do when you're receiving a deep ball. You need to initiate the stroke before you see the ball. And at first it feels a little bit scary because I know how it feels. I tell the players it feels like you're hitting blind. So you're just kind of swinging, there's no ball yet, but you're already beginning your swing, and that's what you have to do if you want to meet the ball in front and have good energy transfer and good contact point and quite effortless stroke. You will have to initiate early so that the stroke flows. So the same idea applies to the backhand. If I'm waiting to see the ball bounce and then I initiate my stroke, I will probably be late. You can also see that, you know, it's very jerky movement. I'm waiting and then I'm late. But I will now initiate the stroke early, so I'm already going, and that's how I'm able to hit the ball in front. So I have to initiate my stroke before I see the ball bounce. So how can we practice this? If you're a coach and you're training someone, then I like to exaggerate things. So I'm asking Sasha to actually initiate the stroke. He's going to initiate the stroke first, and then I will throw the ball. So here we go, Sasha. So I'm waiting for him to initiate the stroke. Sorry, one more. So that he feels this strange thing. How is it to, go ahead, how is it to initiate the stroke and then find the ball? So now we will, yes, now we will put everything together. So as soon as he initiates the stroke, I'm going, and now I can toss the ball a little bit faster, and as you saw, I tossed the ball quite fast, and he's not even close to being late. So that's a good drill I use sometimes, where I exaggerate a little bit so that the player feels that he actually won't be too early, because the player feels that they will be too early when they're initiating the stroke. They're saying, well, I will be too early, but that's not the case. So especially when the ball is going deep, because when the ball is going deep, it's usually takes a little bit less time, because it bounces later and it loses speed later. So as long as the ball is in the air, it keeps more speed. As soon as the ball bounces, it loses speed. So when the ball is deep, it tends to have more speed, you have less time. That's why you can initiate the stroke quite early. So that's one exercise to practice. Have the player initiate the stroke before you toss the ball, and then have them find the ball. And within a few repetitions, you're going to find the right rhythm. The second type of drills that I prefer also is just playing, and I will just show you simple progressions, how we actually force the player to initiate the stroke early.
A good drill to start with is just playing mini tennis, but in this case we want to play mini tennis a little bit different. We want to play with good pace and play the ball quite deep, so that the player is forced to play the ball on the rise. And what's important here is that the player always tries to hit the ball well in front at their ideal contact point, have a good weight transfer in the ball, have good balance, and yet manage to hit the ball on the rise, even though the ball is fairly deep and quite fast for the mini tennis. And so this is what actually forces the player somewhat automatically or unconsciously to initiate the stroke early, so it's breaking their habit of waiting to see the ball. The next progression is just to move to mid-court. We call it midi tennis, and so we're playing the same exercise. We're just playing with a nice speed of the ball. We don't want to hit the ball too fast, because simply hitting the ball on the rise is actually quite challenging for our brain to calculate the perfect timing to initiate the stroke and the perfect contact point and so on. So just try and keep a good nice rally speed, and pay attention whether you can hit the ball at your contact point even though you're hitting on the rise. The next progression is just to move back to the baseline, but both players are just standing inside the baseline, and again they are playing nice deep rallies and learning to time the ball differently. So we're not waiting to see the ball after the bounce, but we're initiating the stroke slightly early, and we try and feel whether we hit the ball at the perfect contact point. Here I switched places with Sasha, so you can see that even when he plays the ball very deep, I'm always hitting the ball in front, so I'm never late, and I'm not rushed. and that is because I can initiate my swing early and always meet the ball in my perfect contact point. So you can also see from this angle that I'm hitting the ball at the same contact point, whether I have a lot of time like here or when the ball comes deeper like here. So I'm hitting the ball on the rise and here also, and I'm not troubled with that ball. In this side-by-side comparison, you can see better the difference between the preparation or the stroke when the ball is landing deep or when the ball is landing short. So when the ball is landing deep, the preparation has to start earlier because there will be less time after the bounce. And because these videos are both synchronized to the contact point, you will see that in the contact point, basically both forehands look the same. But in order to achieve that when the ball is landing deep, so when there's less time after the bounce, we actually have to initiate the stroke much earlier. And the key point here is that, the key goal is that we can retain the same technique. So we're not backing off, we're not leaning backwards, we're not losing balance, but we're retaining the same forehand technique that we have that gives us the most control. So in order to achieve that, we have to prepare earlier and initiate the stroke earlier and not be bothered by the ball bounce. So not use the ball bounce as a trigger on when to start our stroke. So we're not looking to see the ball and then start our stroke, but we have to sort of calculate in advance where the ball will be so that we can hit it in ideal contact point. So when I'm doing that, I'm just trying to gauge when do I have to start my swing so that I hit the ball in my ideal contact point.